One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Whistles report he pays his way. Oh, legend in the making, day by day.
Well. Much love, honor, respect to everybody coming in hot this beautiful, beautiful morning, this hump day morning. Hopefully you guys are all having a good one. I know that I am. Yeah. So anyways, guys, we got a humongous, line of, I guess, news cycle. We're going to be discussing Luigi Mangione, or I don't know how to say his last name. The guy that took out the healthcare CEO. Gets indicted, as well as the drones latest, as well as Trump news, and last but not least, the Middle East wars, where of course we're going to go over that. Israel actually just came out this morning with a statement regarding Syria, so of course we're going to get dive into that as well. Yeah, man. All right, before we get into like all the craziness, because there is a lot of shit going on, make sure you guys hit that like button. Number one metric of all of YouTube, helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. And if you guys are brand new, what else is free? Hitting that subscribe button. Very much appreciate you guys. Also, please consider becoming a member, starting only at $2.99 a month. We make sure that every single Saturday morning, for only the price of less than a cup of coffee per month at Starbucks, you get to have 4 per month every single Saturday. We have our members only live streams, man, 10 a.m. CST, same time that we do Monday through Friday. And we are a bit uncensored over there. So, of course, everything's going to be shouted out as per usual. Also, make sure to follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only myself, but of the show, as well as Millennial Food Time, man. We get down with our bad selves. Last but not least, listen, man, everything is shouted out. Super chats, super stickers, channel membership signups, as well as gifted memberships. Of course, those are all just shouted out. But if you guys would like to skip that whole ordeal and not have YouTube take that brutal 30% cut, we have these scrolling for the remainder of the show. And of course, I'll read out what your guys' message is as well. All right. So as we get into this, man, we need to say hello to all you legends up in here. We got Heartbender up in the building saying girls suck and boys rule. Hey, man, I can get down with that. Brother Steve, Brother Hook Dog, good morning, kind sir. Carney's Ride, always up in the building. What's up, my man? We got Dwayne. We got Brother Wolfheim up in here from Sweden as well. He sent in, get that coffee in, man. I appreciate you, my man, by the way. And check it out. I drank a little bit last night. And you guys know the deal. If I'm drinking, no coffee's going to be in the morning. So we have our soda, just sounds ultra good when, you have a nice night of drinking. Yeah, feels ultra good. But I very much appreciate you, Brother Wolfheim. I very much appreciate that. We got Straight Jacket as well. He's still drunk right now from last night. We got Tiffany. Always good to see you guys, man. Let's see. We got allegedly good to see you as well. Good morning to you. American Uncensored. Always good to see you. She Cannoli. Yes, that's right. Facts. Roberto Rabir and quarter just straight up gay. I gotta agree, by the way. I gotta agree with that sentiment. Mike, were you in a rush this AM? Your bed is kind of messy. Well, I fucked up. You know what I mean? I actually was quite a bit of in a rush. I woke up at the right time. Like I didn't not do that, but then the editing for this show, I was way too focused on, and I got stuck on a few parts, not only of the thumbnail, but for the live stream. And I usually do a lot of that from like in my bed, you know, when I'm waking up and shit like that. And then of course I go take a shower and all that. And by that time, now it's late. Now it's like 9:30 by the time I get out. And I only have 30 minutes till it starts. So my bed's not even made. I went over there really quick, fucking made it. Yeah, it's just the way it goes. Just the way it goes, bro. We got Anson Knowles. Always good to see you, man. I follow nothing. Hey, that's cool. That's cool, brother Dwayne. Always good to see you as well. Hit that like button. Always, bro. Always. Very much appreciate that. And facts, by the way. Big facts. Fun facts. Real men are 5'7". I have to agree with the sentiment. I have to agree. Redneck side. Always good to see you guys over there, man. Yeah. I'm drinking black coffee for stimulation at this point. Yeah, I'm sure you need it at this point. We got the man, the myth, the legend up in here. Are we not men? Clean your room, bucko. No, not happening. Not happening, cuh. You can't make me. You're not my father. We got Bob up in here saying morning all in chat. Mike, man, I very much appreciate you guys. All right. Yeah, we're going to get down with our bad selves. I had a party last night too. Yeah, we got down. We got totally fucking down. All right, let's go ahead and get into the nonsense for the day. We're going to go ahead and start off with regards to Luigi and the healthcare CEO. We're going to go ahead and discuss that first, you know what I mean? And then, of course, we'll walk into all of the rest of the headlines here. Yeah.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. Take a good look at your screen. Luigi Mangione, the man accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, now faces life in prison. This after getting indicted in New York City. Investigators are calling the brazen murder an act of terrorism. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has more from New York.
Facts, by the way, Mount High. I see you. I'm grabbing it. I got it.
Suspected killer Luigi Mangione is facing a charge of first-degree murder. Prosecutors now.
What's up, Sasu? I see you up in here, Sasu dog. Much love, honor, respect. We over here we're on the YouTube side of shit. You know what I mean? I left Twitch a long time ago, but we still, you know, once in a while like to go ahead and stream over there.
Terrorism. DA Alvin Bragg says the killing of
United
Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Midtown Manhattan was meant to shock and intimidate.
The intent was to sow terror.
Mangione faces several other charges, like having an illegal ghost gun. The DA says prohibiting those kinds of weapons is a priority. The high-profile murder brought widespread attention and even praise from
What's
people
up, brother?
online who
we got brother Dean up in here over there in Israel. Good to see you, my man. And also, Sasu asked how I'm doing. I'm doing fantastic. Anytime I get to, well, Monday through Saturday, it's always going to be good because I get to hang out with you guys in the Breakfast Club. Make sure Sasu, make sure you follow me on YouTube, Insane Wheels, all one word, Insane Wheels. Come on over and hang out with us over here with the YouTube community as well, because we get down with our bad selves, you know. You guys can see all of the legends up in here. Always good to see all these motherfucking legends. All right, let's go ahead and get back into this, man. Lots of shit to cover.
Frustrations with the healthcare industry.
Hope you're doing well, though.
Wanted posters were even put up around the city with photos of other CEOs. New York's police commissioner scolded that behavior, calling it appalling.
We don't celebrate murders, and we don't lionize the killing of anyone. And any attempt to rationalize this is vile, reckless, and offensive to our deeply held principles of justice.
Dragon class.
New details
Good morning.
from detectives who spoke to Mangione's mother shortly before the 26-year-old Ivy League grad was captured.
They had a conversation where she didn't indicate that it was her son in the photograph, but she said it might be something that she could see him doing.
Mangione will be back in a Pennsylvania courtroom Thursday for an extradition hearing. DA Bragg says it's possible the suspect could be returned to New York shortly after. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Fox News. I hate when he does that. That fucking guy. Hate that. What's up, Hand of Chaos? Feels ultra good to be a
And
G.
Manhattan
What's up, man?
District Attorney Alvin Bragg Jr. and the New York City Police Department Commissioner announced the indictment of Luigi Mangione. Mangione accused of murdering 50-year-old United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. They held a press conference to detail the charges. Let's listen in.
That's rough, Claire. Imagine getting ratted out by your own mother. Shit. Sasu, good to see you over here, man. Much love, honor, respect. What's he waiting on? Come on, bruh.
Good afternoon.
Fox News.
I'm Alvin Bragg, Manhattan District Attorney. I'm honored and privileged to be joined by Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch.
Emerald.
First and foremost, I want to extend my deepest condolences
Good morning
to Mr. Thompson's loved ones and colleagues. His family deserves our respect as they continue to grieve. Our work will never be able to undo the fact that a life was lost. We are here to announce that Luigi Mangione, the defendant, is charged with 1 count of murder in the first degree and 2 counts of murder in the second degree, including 1 count of murder in the second degree as an act of terrorism for the brazen, targeted, and premeditated shooting of Brian Thompson.
They're getting him on terrorism.
Who, as you know, was the CEO of United Healthcare.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be fighting life.
This case was made possible by the collaborative efforts of the phenomenal public servants you see before you today, and so many others who are not here.
Yo, Joseph.
I'm honored
Stop
to
the cat.
lead the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and privileged to serve alongside Assistant District Attorneys Joel Seidman, Kristen Bailey, and Zachary Kaplan, who were working from the outset, hand in hand, with the greatest police department in the world.
I don't know how that works, Claire. I was actually about to interrupt, and I'm glad that you said something. So I was going to bear the question of if you red rum, let's just go ahead and say that. If you red rum a person, right, how can he be charged for first-degree murder and 2 seconds as well as a count of terrorism on top of that shit? Like, how can you do that? How can that be a first-degree offense and a second-degree offense on the same person at the same time? I was going to bear the same question. I'm glad that you said that, Claire. Good morning, by the way.
Chief of our trial division, Lisa Del Pizzo, and the Deputy Chief, Chris Prevost, provided sage oversight and direction. And I want to acknowledge our high technology analysis unit. There was a lot to be processed here. Steve Moran, in particular, who heads that, and Marco Popic.
Well, exactly. You know, they're going to try to make an example out of the dude, you know, but how does that work?
We are privileged here at the DA's office to work every day with the phenomenal public servants at the NYPD.
Exactly. Yep.
It has been a distinct pleasure to work besides Commissioner Tisch, an exemplary partner, and Chief of Detectives Joseph Kinney.
It's very true. The feds get to do anything they fucking want. It's very fucking true. If you think you have any rights with the feds, fuck off. You have no rights. You have nothing, homie.
Every day we're in touch.
They can do whatever the fuck they want.
And his leadership is second to none. And then Deputy Commissioner Rebecca Weiner, who, as I tell her, there are a lot of challenging things happening in the world, and I sleep better at night knowing that she is the Deputy Commissioner in charge of terrorism. The detectives.
Your perfect timing, by the way, KP. Good morning.
Out doing the courageous frontline work. Detective Oscar Diaz, Detective Curcio, exemplary, the finest. It wasn't just those of us here in New York. I want to acknowledge the great work of our partners in Altoona, the Altoona Police Department, the Blair County District Attorney's Office.
State charges.
The governors of New York and Pennsylvania.
Oh, shit. We got Jess White coming in hot with the 5 gifted memberships for you guys. Shit. Holy shit. I very much appreciate you, Jess. Did they disperse? Oh, they're trying to right now. I see 3 out of the 5 have dispersed. I don't know why YouTube plays that game with me. I have almost 9,000 subscribers that it could go to. I don't know why they play this fucking game with me. I have no idea. Anyways, thank you for that, Jess. Much love and respect for that.
The FBI, and of course, the brave members of the public who answered the call when our great commissioner put out the call for their assistance. This was a frightening, well-planned, targeted murder that was intended to cause shock and attention and intimidation. It occurred in one of the most bustling parts
Steve,
of
by the way, welcome, by the way. Perfect timing. So you're not, like, right now is perfect timing to tune in. We have a lot to cover, though. And Brother Glare coming in hot over here with the $2 US, by the way. I'd fill half the courtroom with masked people. Yeah, no shit. No kidding, by the way. Stop the cap, right? There is no cap in that shit. No cap in your rap.
Our city, threatening the safety of local residents and tourists alike, commuters and business
Brother
people
Hardwire,
just starting
out
man. On their day. Let me say a bit more about the charges. They include 1 count of murder in the first degree as a killing in furtherance of terrorism, 2 counts of murder in the second degree, 1 charging that the killing was done as an act of terrorism, and the second pertaining to the fact that the killing was intentional.
This is
the
true.
maximum penalty possible for murder in the first degree and murder in the second degree as an act of terrorism is life without parole. The maximum penalty for murder in the second degree is 25 years to life. There are additional counts.
Hey, don't be hating on his unibrow over there, you guys. Shit. I got caterpillars myself. You know what I mean? I got caterpillars my damn self. You know? And yeah, I do have to fucking pluck this all the time. Like, probably like once a month at least. Yeah, because this shit would be thick out here. Shit. We got Moto Nagata as well. Good to see you, man. Hopefully all is well. And yeah, shit.
As well. A number of criminal possession of weapon charges. 2 counts in the second degree, 4 counts in the third degree, 1 count in the fourth degree, and a count of criminal possession of a forged instrument in the second degree. Let me tell you a bit about the facts. On November 24th, we allege that the defendant arrived in New York City to murder Brian Thompson. After the defendant arrived in New York City on a bus at Port Authority, he checked into the hostel on the Upper West Side using the name Mark Rosario with a fake New Jersey ID. On the morning of December 4th, the defendant left the hostel, just after 5:30 a.m. and traveled to Midtown. For nearly an hour, we allege the defendant waited in the area near the Hilton Hotel, waiting for Mr. Thompson to appear. From 6:38 a.m. to 6:44 a.m., the defendant stood across from the entrance of the hotel on West 54th Street.
Oh, shit. You said from personal experience, you know that, laser hair removal works. Hey, W on that. I may even fucking do that because it is like an upkeep thing that I have to do all the time. Well, I mean, not all the time. Like I said, like once a month, but still, it's not the end of the world, but that's funny.
Mr. Thompson. He crossed the street and approached him from behind. We allege he then took out a 9mm 3D printed ghost gun. Equipped with a 3D printed suppressor and shot him once in the back and once in the leg.
Shit.
The defendant
took his leg
fled
out.
Northeast.
What do these guys got against legs? Why you guys shoot the leg, huh?
54th Street and took an e-bike uptown before getting into a taxi that took him to West 178th Street and Amsterdam Avenue. On December 9th, the defendant was spotted.
No. So one side is like, baby, you could have baby oil or oil of some sort for my real leg. And then for the other leg, that's WD-40,
McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. The local police were notified. He was arrested and he was found with a 9mm handgun.
Right, Harbender.
Suppressor, 2 ammunition magazines, and the same fake New Jersey ID he used at the hostel. I want to say a word about ghost guns.
Facts.
These weapons are increasingly proliferating throughout New York City and the entire country. Involving technology will only make this problem worse. Last year, over 80 ghost guns and ghost gun parts were recovered in Manhattan alone. The NYPD and the Manhattan DA's office have been leading in the interdiction of these ghost guns.
You know, that's a very good observation, America Uncensored. He says, how are you so smart? How are you smart enough to pull this off, but yet get caught days later with a fucking ghost gun? Shit. That's a very good question, for real.
And one thing I want to make clear, they're unserialized, they can be printed out, but as this case tragically makes clear, they are just as deadly as traditional firearms. This will remain a priority for us here in Manhattan. Finally, I know there have been questions about the extradition process. The latest that I can offer you is that the defendant is currently scheduled to appear in court in Pennsylvania on Thursday morning, first for a preliminary hearing on his Pennsylvania charges.
A ghost gun is when somebody uses a 3D printer and they basically make out of this 3D printer some sort of firearm. And that's what a ghost gun is. It means basically that it was made and it's untraceable. You know, there's no serial numbers and shit.
Immediately to follow that will be an extradition hearing. We have indications that the defendant may waive that hearing, in which case he'd be brought to New York forthwith. In any event, we have been preparing on parallel paths, and before the hearing, we'll send to the governor of the state of New York the paperwork that would be necessary if he does not waive during that hearing. I now want to turn over to our great commissioner, and when I do so, I wanted to thank her for her partnership, not only on this matter, but on all we do every day together. Thank you.
That dude fucking rambled on forever, didn't he, everybody?
Good afternoon, everyone. The unsealing of today's indictment brings us one step closer to securing justice for Brian Thompson and his family. And
no, you're very right, by the way, Hand of Chaos. They're very simple tools. Very simple. People overcomplicate shit all the time. We got Dram up in the building. Good to see you. Hopefully you're having a good morning over here. Nice profile picture, by the way.
The primacy of the rule of law in the city of New York. NYPD detectives worked tirelessly to piece this case together. And along the way, the Manhattan...
That's so funny. He kind of does have this face structure and all that shit of Ryan Garcia. That's hilarious.
His office made sure we had every legal tool available to us. Whether quickly providing subpoenas to assist with our evidence collection, or traveling with us to Altoona, Pennsylvania last week after the apprehension, our partnership made this a successful investigation. So I'd like to thank District Attorney Bragg and his team for their work in bringing this case forward. Part of that work included the relentless collection and analysis of surveillance video.
Oh, here we go. Just sending in 5-spot, Australian 5-spot, by the way. Says it's just to mess with the algorithm. Works even if YouTube tries to block it. YouTube doesn't know or doesn't realize we don't give a fuck here. Truth is king. Facts, by the way. I appreciate that. Very good message, by the way. W, over to you. I very much appreciate
by
that.
Our detectives, which ultimately produced a clear image of our suspect. That image was shared far and wide through the media. And thanks to an observant McDonald's customer and the employee who alerted the police, Mr. Mangione was quickly brought into custody.
Where he got found at the McDonald's in Tennessee, or not Tennessee, in PA, right?
This outcome is why we always emphasize the critical role of the public in our public safety mission. So again, I want to thank everyone who saw something, said something, and did something. That is why we have a suspect in custody today.
Brother Warland, good to see you, man.
As DA Bragg
good morning.
said, Luigi Mangione is now formally charged and indicted for murder. And let me be perfectly clear. In the nearly 2 weeks since Mr. Thompson's killing, we have seen a shocking and appalling celebration of cold-blooded murder. Social media has erupted with praise for this cowardly attack.
Yeah, fuck him.
People ghoulishly plastered posters threatening the other CEOs with an X over Mr. Thompson's picture.
Definitely don't get this twisted. This whole attack was an attack on capitalism. Don't misconstrue the notion here. It's definitely an attack on capitalism.
he
Or it
was some
was.
sort of a sick trophy. And yesterday, the New York Post reported that some extreme activists were circulating a deck of cards with other most wanted CEOs to be targeted for assassination. These are the threats of a lawless, violent mob who would trade in their own vigilantism for the rule of law that protects us all.
Bastard deserves
say
it.
this
Going to
plainly.
McDonald's.
There is no heroism in what Mangione did. This was a senseless act of violence. It was a cold and calculated crime that stole a life and put New Yorkers at risk. We don't celebrate murders and we don't lionize the killing
Yeah, but
of
fuck New York too, low key. You know what
anyone. And any attempt to rationalize this is vile, reckless, and offensive to our deeply held principles of justice. Now, as we await the extradition process in Pennsylvania to complete, we continue our public safety work here at home. That includes our focus on the growing threat of ghost guns, one of which was used in this attack.
Oh shit,
the
that's
NYPD
dirty.
remains committed to tracking down and removing these untraceable weapons from our streets.
Martin, good morning.
And we will do that work hand in hand with District Attorney Bragg here in Manhattan and in every other borough to ensure that those who possess, distribute, and use these weapons are held fully accountable. Finally, I want to again thank every member of the NYPD, uniform and civilian.
That's
working
right.
on this.
That's right. You were the one that you were spurging like a motherfucker. You're like, this motherfucker's right down the street from me. Yeah, you were losing your shit that day.
Case, led of course by our great Chief Kenny, whether in Midtown North Squad, Homicide, Crime Scene Unit, Intelligence Bureau, and everywhere else. All of you contributed to today's indictment, and you've brought the Thompson family one step closer to justice in this case. Thank you.
Please be done with this shit now. What do you got to say more about? Oh, questions? Okay, good. Questions. Yeah, I need that, KP. Thank you, by the way. I appreciate that. Hit that like button, everybody. I'm trying to hear that bit.
Sure. So,
Nothing, I
in
couldn't
its
hear it.
most basic terms, this was a killing that was intended to evoke terror.
What's up, Lappy?
And we've seen that reaction.
Good morning.
The statutory elements we can go into, but its most basic term, that's what this is. This was not an ordinary.
It's 100% capitalism. How would it not be?
Ordinary. But this was extraordinary.
By the way, Big Pharma plays a huge role in capitalism. Just is what it is.
And the New York State Legislature has, set out, both the paths that we talk about, both the murder one and murder two. And this, we allege, is certainly squarely within those statutes, which talk about intending to do exactly what we saw happen here.
Yep, that's true, by the way, Martin. You're like, yo, stop everything. Yo, fucking bring this shit to a halt because we got some shit going down. Yeah, it was hilarious.
December 6th, when the FBI was notified by the San Francisco police about this missing person that was called in from Luigi's mother, the time that they contacted you about this. Were you aware of this when he was arrested, or was this something that was still being processed?
I agree with that, by the way, Emerald. It's a fucked up system.
The original missing report.
The pharmaceutical and the big pharma, shit like that. Also insurance companies, like you mentioned right there. Yeah, insurance companies are, man, the biggest scam of all fucking time, aren't they? They're the only fucking, they're the only industry that does everything in their power not to do their job. You know what I mean? They're like the only fucking industry that does that shit. It's wild.
Back in November 18th in
Always
San
trying to get out of it.
The sergeant that was involved in that case reached out to the San Francisco field office and said, hey, basically, I'm working on a missing case. I saw the photograph that was distributed by the NYPD. There bears a resemblance. That tip was forwarded to us close to 45 hours after the incident took place. It showed up to a TFO, which is a task force officer. We have NYPD officers embedded with the FBI.
Oh, shit. We got my boy Nick Ray up in the building. Shout out to my man over here. Another fine Alabamian, by the way. Yeah, he is actually headed to my pad right now. Hopefully you are right. You should be in the car right now. But it's going to be a good time hanging out with you this afternoon, my man.
Received that tip.
Drive
it was
safe.
One of 4 tips that they had received that day, and they were vetting it. Part of that vetting process was that they reached out to Mangione's mother in San Francisco very late on the 7th. They had a conversation where she didn't indicate that it was her son in the photograph, but she said it might be something that she could see him doing. So that information was going to be passed along to the detectives the next morning, but fortunately we apprehended him before that we could act on that.
What's up, Joker? Good morning, my man. Good to see you. And Brother Warland, are you feeling better, by the way? I hope you're feeling better.
I'm wondering how concerned you are about a potential jury knowing that someone on that jury would be someone who would lionize and celebrate it.
Well, I want to.
I didn't hear the end of that question.
Commissioner's words and concerns, which I think were put forth beautifully. I mean, we see a lot in these jobs. I meet with
no shit, Blair.
Family.
I did not see that FFA had reports on that. No. Do me a favor, send that shit to me on Instagram.
Victims.
I'd appreciate that.
I just can't wrap my head around the notion that someone is celebrating this. To your specific question, you know, we're at the beginning of a litigation now.
That is fucking terrible, Tiffany.
We have a phenomenal
terrible
trial team in place, led by ADA Joel Seidman, who is been
good to
in this
hear,
office for
Warland.
more than 40 years and handled some very challenging matters. We have a wide-year process in place. I have faith in our jury system to select 12 people who can be fair and impartial, but we'll move forward, and that's something well down the road, but we'll be ready when that time comes.
All right, we're going to go ahead and end that there because I'm sure this, it does go on for quite a bit longer. So let's go ahead and move it on over. I'm seeing some crazy shit over here, so I want to see what the hell this is all about real quick. And then, of course, we'll get into what's going on with Israel in regards to Syria, and that'll be definitely interesting, to say the least. How come I can't hear shit?
Welcome back to Live Now from Vox. Here at 6:54 on the East Coast. We want to get back to your top stories and headlines. This one taking us out to Madison, Wisconsin. At this hour, police still don't have a motive for why a 15-year-old student opened fire inside of her high school.
Yeah, dealing with motives is totally different, than mental health issues. I mean, this person was mentally unwell. Facts.
To people. That shooting shocking a community that was, until a few days ago, preparing for the holidays. Right now, we want to check back in with our content partners there in Milwaukee as they have team coverage on this story.
Yes, and he's not arguing that, Hook Dog.
We will continue to update you on this story throughout the morning.
There is something that is just never going to be the same. And I think my sense of safety has been impacted.
Community members gathered for a vigil at the state capitol last night to honor those who died.
Your safety has not been impacted. That it was just a real life situation. Now here's what I have to say. Anything like that can be possible at all times. I mean, we're not living in a complete fucking safe zone. It's just not the way it is. We don't live in a safe zone. Dangers can arise. People's mental health can fucking flare up and be depressed. What if someone, their parents just died in a car crash and their wife just got murdered, and they're depressed as fuck or whatever the case. You don't know what people have the potential to do wild shit. With or without a gun, by the way. Just saying. We got Nick up in the building. What's up, my man? I appreciate that. He says, on the way, bro. I appreciate that. Drive safe, meaning, you know what I mean? I appreciate you letting me know, but drive safe.
In the shooting at Abundant Life Christian School. Organizers say the community is leaning on each other for support to get through this difficult time. Meanwhile, Madison police say identifying a motive for the school shooting is their top priority as the search for answers continue.
Our Zoe Chapala is live in Madison this morning with the latest on the investigation. Zoe, good morning.
Aaron, Derica, police have not identified a motive specifically, but they did say that it all comes down to a combination of factors. Again, lead investigators didn't really go into much detail, but they do say that they're looking into bullying.
Oh, they definitely know exactly what it means. Lucy has become, she's become a fucking channel mascot. She's like constantly playing behind me. And so people always love to see her. I put her up to the camera all the time. It's hilarious. Hell yeah. They know
Abundant
about
Life Christian School. Police are also reviewing what some users call a manifesto, making the rounds on social media. Now,
What's up,
police
DT?
have not confirmed its authenticity or whether 15-year-old Natalie Ruppnow wrote it. Detectives say the student shot a teacher and another student dead before she turned the gun on herself. Ruppnow didn't survive. It happened Monday morning during a study hall period. Several others were also hurt,
That's
including
terrible,
2 people still in
Steve.
critical condition this morning.
Jesus.
Police say there are always signs of a school shooting before it happens. Investigators right now are combing through Ruppnow's social media accounts in hopes that maybe something will stand out.
This is a hurting and haunting situation, and the many survivors will need our continued support.
What's up, GEG?
And we pledge to give them that in the days, months, and even years ahead.
Police have not named the victims. It's not clear when they will. But right now, the focus is on finding out more information about the alleged.
Yep, that is facts, by the way. That is facts. What's up, brother Papa Penguin? Good morning to you, kind sir.
Shooter. So police say if you have any information about Ruppnow or maybe how she was feeling in the moments leading up to the incident, please reach out to Madison area Crime Stoppers. In Madison, Zoe Chapala, Fox 6 News.
Thank you for that, Zoe. And this morning, police say 2 people remain in critical condition. Madison's police chief has not shared any further information about the teacher and the student who died in the shooting. Chief Sean Barnes also corrected something.
Yep, absolutely, Tiffany. There's always got to be that respect. Always got to be that respect boundary between your parents and child. You know, always got to be that. Yeah, to them, your mom. You know, that's just the way it'll always be. Yeah, definitely. I'm not your bruh.
He said Monday night, the person who called 911 at the school was a second-grade teacher, not a student.
Yes, by the way,
Barnes added
that is a humongous thing that I saw on the news last night. So remember how everyone was talking about in the media that all of this was basically saved by a second-grade child that made the phone call to 911. Now, the chief or whatever, whoever investigated this, he came out on the podium and actually said, this was my fuck up. It was not a second grader that made the 911 call. It was a second grade teacher that made the phone call. So that's what he put out on the record. So anyways, they just reiterated that just now.
911 at the school was a second grade teacher, not a student. Barnes added that false threats were made at, quote, numerous Madison public schools in what is believed to be incidents of swatting. Police will work with prosecutors and charge any person involved in that swatting incident. A lot of information still coming in, and you can go through all that information that we have given you and so much more on the Fox Local and the Fox Local mobile app. Watch complete news conferences and sift through our team's reports and always get new information released from officials.
Same here, by the way, Hook Dog. If I were to have like brud my fucking or call my mom, like chill out, bro. Like if I would have fucking said any of that shit, oh my God, I can only imagine what would have happened.
Appreciate our content partners there, Fox 6 Milwaukee, continuing to comb through the evidence themselves and provide team coverage for that tragic situation there in Madison, Wisconsin. The time now 6:58 here on the East Coast. I'm Jeanne Francine. 2 minutes shy from
we're gonna go ahead and move it
of the 7 o'clock hour.
Oh,
and
no.
we are following.
I thought they were gonna go
this Wednesday.
I thought they were gonna go straight into one of those 2-minute commercial breaks or whatever, or a little break. But here, now we're going to get into Israel regarding Syria. So here we go.
Morning. I want you to take a good look at your screen.
Much love,
giving you
KP.
a live
Appreciate
look
you.
at the Israel-Gaza border. We're learning early this Wednesday from the Associated Press, the Israeli military ordering another evacuation in central Gaza.
Correct. That is true. What she just said, that she's kind of getting on breaking news. They are evacuating Gaza right now actively. So let me go ahead and back that up so you guys can hear that again.
Israel-Gaza border. We're learning early this Wednesday from the Associated Press, the Israeli military ordering another evacuation in central Gaza ahead of an offensive in the area. This as Israel and the militant group Hamas appear to inch closer to a ceasefire in this 14-month-long war. Joining us live this morning to further discuss is Dr. Asaf Ramawaski. He's the executive director of Scholars for Peace in the Middle East. Dr. Asaf, good morning to you. Always a pleasure having you join us here on Live Now from Fox.
I don't know who was.
Thank you for having me.
I don't know
So
who the
this just further
reference
shows-
was, by the way. I don't know who the reference was regarding that SWAT thing. That was the first time I heard of it too, on just now. So I don't know what they were referring to.
Said while there is conflict at this hour with the terroristic organization Hezbollah, the conflict out with the Assad regime in Syria, we are seeing that the Israel-Hamas conflict is far from over. A surprise to many this Wednesday morning.
Good
Dr.
investigation.
They were thinking we were actually inching closer to a ceasefire negotiation.
Yeah, by the way, drive safe, VT. Make sure of that shit. You know what I mean? Anybody driving that's in the chat right now, I want you guys to be safe out there. All right, so I backed it up a little bit because I talked over that a little bit.
Organization Hezbollah, the conflict out with the Assad regime in Syria, we are seeing that the Israel-Hamas conflict is far from over. A surprise to many this Wednesday morning, Dr. Asaf, as they were thinking we were actually inching closer to a ceasefire negotiation.
So let's frame it. I mean, I think that Hamas is feeling the pressure. I mean, Iran has been devastated as a result of what's been happening with Lebanon and Hezbollah, what we're seeing currently happening with Syria. So if you look at the larger map and the tentacles of Iran, as far as this multi-front war with Iran has suffered a significant blow. That means that is also affecting and impacting Hamas's capabilities. That being said, Hamas is continuing to show that they have force. They want to show that they are still a major player. They still have a large desire. A success story for them would mean, especially as we edge towards a new administration, for them to come out of the tunnels and say that they're still around. That would be a success story. Obviously, that is not going to happen. And obviously, I think that there's much more synergy now between the current Israeli government and the incoming Trump administration. That being said, they're firing what they have left in order to kind of put pressure on the Israelis. To the Israelis' credit, to your reporting, which is correct, Israel has still been able to alert people that they're coming and to remove people to safe zones. And if you remember early back in the war, during the debate about Rafah, this was something, of course, that the current administration, the Biden administration, Blinken and Biden and company said that the Israelis would not be able to do. The Israelis are still able to move people to safe zones. The challenge that they have, as has been the ongoing evergreen challenge when dealing with Hamas and with Hezbollah in the same fashion, that is that they embed themselves in the civilian population, and differentiating between combatants and non-combatants is an ongoing problem. And so this is all happening on the heels of what you mentioned correctly, more talks. The reporting that has been coming out of late
there should be more talks.
Israeli, the military apparatus and military intelligence is that they are close. Again, that doesn't mean exactly what exactly it means is not clear. We have no names. We have no conditions. Blinken, has been making a lot of comments. Jake Sullivan was in the region. Bill Burns, the CIA, was also in the region. My concern, as always, as you and I have discussed over the past year plus now, is that we're negotiating with the Qataris. The Qataris have been complicit with 10-7, and they have been patrons of Hamas. So my skepticism has to do with the fact that, do we trust a group that has been so embedded and so supportive of Hamas, given the reality that we've been looking and following now during this war for over the year plus now.
Dr. Saab, thank you so much for that detailed breakdown. We know what
Hey, that's called that Chancla special, you dig? Oh, trust me. Trust me, them Mexican women, holy fuck. You could have, yeah, exactly. You could have turned corners and shit as you're running away, turning corners where she will throw that bitch and still get you in the head. Crazy.
this recent evacuation
I'm
order,
speaking from experience.
Those who are stranded
Mexican
in
women
displaced
are
because of the
wild.
war, they're told to be moved to a Muwasi area. There's concern this morning as to if this fact is exactly, if this zone will be free from war. We've seen several times where, as you mentioned, with Hamas using people as human shields and embedding themselves within these camps, we've seen how some of these camps have been places where airstrikes has happened. Do you think that's a concern for this new evacuation effort?
I think it's always an issue. I mean, you have to put it into context. Hamas has, by design, an intention to aggrandize the casualties. I mean, even of late, there was a report that came out just a few days ago about how Hamas exaggerates when it comes to the statistics about the numbers of death, the numbers of casualties. They have a
I'm going to be honest. I trust this guy's fucking word over Palestine's fucking side and fucking the Israeli side. I trust this dude more than I trust either of those sides, and that's hilarious. But this guy is really a scholar in what he does. I'll even read you his title: Executive Director of Scholars for Peace in the Middle East. Yeah, this motherfucker is seriously in the know. Where this motherfucker is like actually in some of the craziest ways of figuring out news from the inside, whether it be Telegram groups, different signal groups and stuff like that. Yeah, it's kind of deep.
That basically demands to aggrandize and to showcase starvation, famine, genocide.
Please do.
These are all the trigger words that we...
Hey, Are We Not Men? Do you have my Instagram? That's where where I can pull everything. I'm not even logged into Discord on this computer. Swear to God. Hit that Instagram up right there.
Seen all over the place in order to put the blame and to put pressure on the Israelis. That's exactly why they fire out of civilian neighborhoods with the idea and with the process of designing a retaliation by the Israelis to showcase to see Israel is once again targeting civilians and whatnot. Again, there's no Israel does not do that for starters. B, there's no reciprocity on the other side. If you look at the makeup of the hostages, when you're talking about babies and elderly and women and children and how they've been used and abused sexually, violently by Hamas itself, we've not seen any evidence of the Red Cross being allowed to go in to check in on the people. So there's lack of reciprocity all around. However, the Hamas narrative and at large the Palestinian narrative has been based on showcasing victimhood and victimology.
And by the way, right after he's done speaking right here, I'm going to fast forward to wherever the Israeli government comes out and speaks on Syria. So we're going to go ahead and listen in to that after this, by the way.
And so they are consistently portraying themselves as the victim of the world with no consequences. And so given the fact that they are still able to try to, it's kind of the boy constantly crying wolf, and constantly, making this case again and again that they are the victim no matter what they do. Hamas and Palestinian society at large likes to have this kind of blameless narrative. And the challenges of how to root out these Islamist elements, at the same time dealing with the PR element, which they are so good at, as far as portraying this genocidal narrative in order to, again, use pressure to put pressure on the Israelis, economic pressure, worldwide pressure. And you're seeing, these outlets like the International Court of Justice of late, Ireland, again, declaring, standing by.
Very good observation, Emerald.
These are all kinds of larger arteries that they're trying to use to isolate the Israelis and put the blame on Israel and taking no responsibility whatsoever for the brutality and the slaughtering of what took place on October 7th, when Israel was dealing with a modern day Holocaust.
What's up, brother Huggy? Good morning, by the way.
When there is a state of Israel, Hamas still thinks that they are able to claim innocence and to justify and ratify their actions.
Dr. Assaf, an important thing that you mentioned was how the world, they're keeping a close eye on all of this. And we know, looking ahead today, that the Israeli president, Isaac Herzog, he's supposed to meet with President-elect Donald Trump's Mideast envoy in Jerusalem. As these many conflicts continue, we're looking ahead right here in America to the inauguration, as you know. We know a lot of eyes are on President-elect Donald Trump to potentially eradicate all of these issues out in the Middle East. Do you think that's a reality? I know a lot of the Israeli people are holding onto that hope, specifically because of the remaining hostages still in Hamas captivity.
I think there is a lot of hope, and I think that you're definitely hearing a significant change and a tone that is coming out of the incoming administration. Even Trump's latest warning about the fact that if things don't change, if the hostages don't come back before his inauguration, there will be consequences to pay. I don't think we've heard this kind of forcefulness coming out of the current administration. There's been a lot of wishy-washy.
Yo, Are We Not Men? I just watched the motherfucker. I'm not playing no Kanye West. Fuck that motherfucker. That's so funny, though. I watched it just now. That's hilarious.
On the one hand, help the Israelis. On the other hand, try to temper their responses. On the other hand, try to play a diplomatic track. And it's really forced the Israelis to fight with one hand behind their backs. There should be really no qualms about whatsoever what the Israelis are doing, because as you and I have discussed for over a year now, the kind of war and the ideology that Israel is fighting is America's war. If we don't stop the war in the Middle East, it's going to come home. I would argue it's already here, rearing its evil head on college campuses and in other places. And so we need to stop this. And of course, it all goes back to the head of this hydra, that is Iran. So I think that there isn't also an opportunity here now. This is also part of the conversation, whether or not there will be any kind of taking out militarily out of the nuclear program in Iran. And now would be a window of an opportunity to tackle that, given where we are and before the next administration.
And America needs to not fall into the trap of involving ourselves with Iran. Whatever fucking Israel does, they do. I mean, whatever. But man, we need to not fall for that trap.
Takes office. But I think that there is a sense from the Israelis that they have a clear friend in the White House, and especially when you still have American hostages in Gaza. And so I think that this is also something that needs to be clear to the world, and there needs to be, once again...
That's me being idealistic, by the way. Are we not, men? I know.
On our side, a reestablishment of clear deterrence. And I think that this is something that the Trump administration is looking to fortify and looking to bring back to the table as far as what are these red lines. And those red lines have been crossed time and time again. And I think that the current lame duck administration is basically trying to do what they can.
But his first term compared to his second is going to be wildly different. Totally. It's so much more enhanced and better, and you learn from your mistakes type shit. Yeah, I can guarantee it. He's a very different politician than he was,
so to speak,
when he first started.
The administration takes place. But it's a little bit of a convoluted message to my mind, and I think that the Israelis are looking forward to working with Donald Trump. And as you can see now, he's already making all the right overtures by having these meetings with these world leaders, including all the Israelis who are involved in trying to bring this to some kind of positive end. It's hard to see that, but moving on to the next level as far as where the war is going next and what to do as far as next steps.
Dr. Asaf Marmowski, thank you so much for your candid dialogue and your perspective on this topic. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you as always. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to really quick just bring our attention so I don't have to try to find it on this live stream, on this live. So let's go ahead and I have it broken down over here, ready for us. All right, let's go ahead and check this out. Israel provides update on operations with Syria and Hamas. Here we go. We get to hear the man. You guys have given him a few nicknames.
Next to Syria, the Prime Minister yesterday visited the summit of Mount Hermon. He was briefed there on the fast-changing situation in Syria by the leaders of our armed forces. The IDF is currently addressing the necessary deployment there until a suitable arrangement is made that ensures Israel's security. Next to Lebanon, yesterday a Hezbollah terrorist was identified loading a vehicle with weapons in southern Lebanon. As we have stated, this is in violation of the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Lebanon. Our Air Force eliminated that threat. As we've said before, fire will be met by fire and peace will be met by peace. Israel remains deployed in southern Lebanon and will act against the threats to our security. We want this ceasefire agreement to endure, but the difference now is we are enforcing this ceasefire agreement. Next to Kogat and the aid going into Gaza, our humanitarian aid efforts are persistent and continuous. The latest figures we have over the last 24 hours are that 200 humanitarian aid trucks went into Gaza, 67 via the Erez crossing to northern Gaza, 133 via the Kerem Shalom crossing, but only 63 trucks were collected from the Gazan side of Kerem Shalom by international organizations. That means that there are still 750 trucks worth of aid waiting for collection. So when you hear about complaints about not enough aid getting to Gazans, there are still 750 trucks worth of aid awaiting collection on the Gazan side of Kerem Shalom. They've been through security and they're ready to be distributed and they're waiting there. A convoy of 65 aid trucks entered Gaza via Route 96 yesterday. 4 gas tankers went in for infrastructure. 2 fuel tankers went into northern Gaza on Monday. 9 ambulances went into Gaza through Kerem Shalom. We, of course, want to ensure the continued provision of medical care to Gazans, but also facilitate patient transfer to hospitals in Gaza. Since the start of this war, we have facilitated the entry of over 130 ambulances. These have been donated by many countries and organizations. And to give you the global figure now, since the start of this war, more than 1,200,000 tons of food and aid on over 60,000 trucks have entered into Gaza. Let me give you that figure again. Since the start of this war, more than 1,200,000 tons of aid and food on over 60,000 trucks have entered Gaza. So that's the end of our briefing here today. I'll now happily take your questions. Please put your questions in the chat of this Zoom. And
honestly, the best part of this is the chat when he starts answering questions. I haven't seen this yet, but I'm just saying every time that that's usually when we get the most information is from the chat.
Deal with each one individually. Please remember to add your news outlet. Okay, first question I can see here is from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News. Firstly, would Israel consider holding onto the peak of Mount Hermon, giving its strategic importance? Thank you for that question, Joel. I shared with you the comments made by the Prime Minister on after his visit at the peak of Mount Hermon. The Prime Minister said, and I shared those comments with you today, and you can get them from the Prime Minister's website. He said that that point is of great importance, great strategic importance, because not only from that highest peak in this region, you can see over all of northern Israel, but you can also see over Syria as well. And I've given you the Prime Minister's comments there, and I've got nothing more to add on that. Number two, from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News, would Israel consider annexing Druze areas of Syria? Thank you for that question, Joel. We've got nothing to add on those areas. I would just tell you, as many of you may have seen in the news, lots of the Druze residents close to our border inside Syria are asking for precisely that, but I haven't got anything more to add on that. Also, just to say, on the Golan, which is Israeli sovereign territory recognized by the US, we hope other countries also follow that suit. You know, the Golan is an example where people actually live in peace. Druze, Jews, Christians, all living in peace on the Golan. The Prime Minister's called for more Israelis to move to the Golan because it is such an important strategic point which protects this country. As I say, whoever controls the Golan actually has vantage and control of the whole of northern Israel, which is why it is so important that it remains a sovereign part of Israel. The next question here is also from Joel Pollack. What can Israel do to protect the Kurds in Syria from being harmed by Turkey? Thank you for that question. Look, when it comes to the Kurds, our foreign minister made some comments about the importance of respecting the rights of the Kurds. He made those just a couple of days ago, but also in the last day or so, our foreign minister has also said that that Turkey has been systematically encroaching on Syrian territory. 15% of Syria is controlled by Turkey. It's a process that began with a military operation in 2016, in 18, in 2019, and it continues to this very day. The foreign minister has said that Turkey has established proxy zones where armed groups such as the Syrian National Army operate under its control. As I said, 15% of Syria's territory is under the control of Turkish-backed forces. This is a point which is almost never made in international media. They focus instead on Israel taking control of some of the buffer zone between Turkey and Israel to defend ourselves, to ensure that jihadis and any of jihadi radical forces are not on our border to perform another October the 7th massacre. But they almost never, international media, have seen very little coverage of the Turkish-backed forces, which control 15% of Syria. So, and in these areas, you know, it's not just military control. You know, our foreign minister has made clear that Turkish currency is being used. There are Turkish bank branches, and postal service has been operating. So, you know, the Turkish military is bombarding the infrastructure in northeastern autonomous region of Syria, and they're using aircraft and UAVs. So look, Turkey supports these jihadi forces that operate against the Kurds in Syria. So the last country really that can speak.
I feel bad for you guys up there in Canada that have to deal with that shit. Fuck, man. Or anywhere up in the north, you know, that is dealing with that. I know a lot of the United States kind of deals with that shit too. Down here in the South, we don't deal with that shit. Feels ultra good to be a G.
Speak about the occupation in Syria is actually Turkey, with 15% of Syria's territory under the control of its proxies, operating under Turkish patronage. And there is certainly, as our foreign minister has made clear, no justification for the continued Turkish aggression and violence against the Kurds in Syria. I think that answers that question comprehensively. Next question, number 4. Would Israel insist on all the hostages being released at once rather than a deal in stages? Thank you for that question, Joel. Let me read your question again. would Israel insist on all hostages being released at once rather than a deal in stages? Look, I think
we got brother Hank up in here sending over a 2-piece. Hank is in Canada. That's right. Appreciate that. The 2 Canadian, by the way. That should be like it's like probably like 25 cents here in the United States, you know? I'm just fucking with you. Appreciate you, dog.
Less said, the better about the hostage negotiations which are happening right now. But of course, it's a no-brainer that we'd like all the hostages to be released right now at once. We've said very, very clearly that all the hostages back, released, 100 of them, dozens of them alive, many of them killed already by Hamas, and Hamas surrendering would end this war instantly. We've made that crystal clear. But of course, we'd like them all to be back as right now, immediately in one deal. But look, with God's help, we are acting relentlessly to get them all home, all of them, the living and the murdered. But I think it's correct that the less we discuss this, the better. Now is the time for actions. It's not time for words. In the past, there's been a lot of hot air.
Yeah, who am I kidding, Anson? Who am I kidding?
Spoken about our hostages. Perhaps too many words and not enough action have been spoken. We, from Israel's point of view, we are focused. We are working with everything we have to get them out of hell. And they are in hell right now. So look, from me and from this podium, no more words are needed. Words will follow, and there will be plenty of them once our people are released from hell and given back to their families and to this country. It's an open wound in this country, and all of us are desperate to get our people home safely. Next question, also from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News. Question number 5. After Ireland's anti-Israel moves, Foreign Minister Saar said that
I have no idea what they're going to come up with over there. Just by the way, because of the Diamond Effect tonight is at 7 p.m. CST, by the way, this evening. And we're going to be talking about the drone situation. So that shall be interesting. Maybe even my tinfoil is not thick enough, you know? Shit.
the president of Ireland was always an anti-Semite. How can you repair the relationship after that? Thank you for that question, Joel.
What's up, Dwayne?
It is not for Israel to repair this relationship. It is for Ireland. The Irish are the offenders in this scenario. So it's not for Israel to repair this. You know, when it comes to anti-Semitism, we are the victims of anti-Semitism. We are not the perpetrators of anti-Semitism. There's nothing that Israel does that promotes anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is a sickness. It is Jew hatred. It is the oldest hatred. We have been faced. Anti-Semitism is, as the former Chief Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs very wisely said, he said it was the oldest hatred in the world. There's nothing that we do that promotes it or it can ameliorate it. Absolutely not. It is Jew hatred. So when it comes to Ireland, our foreign minister, Saar, exactly as you have said, has instructed the closure of Israel's embassy in Ireland. The actions taken by Ireland, double standards, anti-Semitic rhetoric of the Irish government against Israel, they're rooted in efforts to delegitimize and demonize the only Jewish state in the world, and the Irish government also recognized the Palestinian state during the attacks on Israel. Who praised that recognition? Hamas, a terrorist organization. So Ireland have attempted to redefine genocide, the actual word genocide, in international law. So it supports the baseless claims made by Israel at the ICJ, made against Israel in the ICJ, and they've backed politically motivated cases at the ICC, and they've promoted anti-Israel measures within the EU, and they fostered hostility towards Israel. And also, of course, Ireland is one of the few European countries that has not adopted the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. its government have failed to take effective measures to combat the surge in anti-Semitism within Ireland.
Man, this is
I heard Israel's ambassador to Ireland talking about threats to her personal safety, which were not taken seriously at all, which is the duty of the host country for any embassy that is within their country. But Israel, from our point of view, I'll tell you what we're doing. We are focusing our resources on strengthening bilateral relations with other countries worldwide, according to the priorities, which also take into account the attitudes and actions of these states towards Israel. So there's nothing that Israel can do. It's up to Ireland. Can I just add on this that Ireland was a country which signed the condolence book for Adolf Hitler when Hitler killed himself in 1945. What an appalling legacy.
Damn. Holy shit.
Oh, shit. Oh,
God damn.
Okay, next question. Economist number 6, Jeffrey Sachs, told the US media personality Tucker Carlson that the fall of Assad was a part of a 30-year plan by Netanyahu, whom he blamed for the war in the Middle East. Can you respond? Yeah, so that's an age-old anti-Semitic trope that Israel is, of course, behind all the wars in the region and in the world. Exactly.
It's ending right now.
What utter nonsense. Perhaps I can educate Mr. Sachs when I tell him what our assessment is rather than his erroneous assessment that he spreads across international media and anyone that will hear him. Look, our Prime Minister said that after October 7th massacre, the attack on Israel, it would actually change the face of the Middle East. And he has proved to be correct. Syria is not the same Syria. Bashar al-Assad has fled. He killed 500,000 of his own people. His regime is in tatters. What about Lebanon? Also not the same. Hezbollah has been massively degraded. They've been set back decades. Nasrallah and its leadership obliterated. And what about Gaza? Gaza, it was also not the same Gaza. Hamas close to being defeated. Sinwar eliminated. We've shattered the Hamas battalions. The Prime Minister's talked about 20,000 terrorists killed and taken off the battlefield. Mohammed Daif gone. All the senior Hamas officials gone, eliminated. And also the head of the axis of Iran itself. Iran is not the same Iran. Major parts of Iran's air defense system have been destroyed and their missile manufacturing capabilities massively degraded. We've demolished a significant component of their nuclear program. We've done this not only for us here in Israel, but they've done this for the safety and the peace of the world. And I would add, it's about time the world appreciated the fact that we here in Israel, together with our allies, are standing up to Iran.
Jeez. Wow. That was a fucking spectacle. All right. Well, I like to keep my YouTube channel, so I'll go ahead and keep my remarks fairly to myself on that. It definitely seems a little more assertive than usual. Yeah, no kidding, Barbie. No,
I want to give you all at home
that's not
another live look out at the Israel-Gaza border. I can tell you all, when I first came into the studio early this morning, you could actually see plumes of smoke there in the distance. Speculation that maybe there was some fighting and airstrikes underway, but we have yet to get confirmation on that front. As we further discuss
the last few weeks or so.
All right, we're going into drones now, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we'll just go ahead and start where our man starts speaking to us.
Right, so you were listening to that news conference that was underway with the district attorney and the NYPD chief, as they did talk a lot about the indictment there of Luigi Mangione in connection with the murder of Brian Thompson. An expert will join us here in just about 15-20 minutes to break down what all of this means. So we'll bring you updates here on Live Now from Fox as that does get underway. In the meantime, do want to talk about another big story that we have been following over the last few weeks or so, as the mysterious drones first spotted flying over New Jersey weeks ago, with reports now coming from all over the East Coast. Lawmakers exiting a classified briefing with U.S. intelligence officials insisted that they received assurances that there is nothing, quote unquote, nefarious going on. Officials from the CIA, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, and Defense Department met privately with members of the House Intelligence Committee yesterday. The committee's ranking member, Democratic Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut, telling reporters after that they were reassured the drones are not the work of a classified government operation. Federal intelligence officials have said their theory is that there is no one reason behind this and that many of the sightings called in are simply planes, helicopters, or legally operated hobbyist drones. The FBI says as of now, it has received more
Thank
than
you, by the way, Blair.
6,000 tips from the public regarding mysterious drone sightings. So much to discuss as always, so I do want to bring in now John Slaughter, the director of the UAS Research and Operations Center at the University of Maryland.
Let me pull that up.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us here and help break down a topic that, as you've said, has kind of blown up over the last several weeks.
All right, we'll pause that real quick, and I'm going to direct our attention over to this article that Blair just sent us. So give me a second. We're going to go ahead and share that screen for you. Why is it lagging like a motherfucker? All right. Fucking all the advertisements, that's why. Jesus Christ. All right, so I'm going to make sure that you guys can see. Okay, cool. So this writes, exclusive. Uncovered files reveal secret operation at center of drone invasion and why White House can deny it. Official records show that the Army has been developing and testing counterterrorism drones in New Jersey for years amid claims of a government cover-up. That's interesting. A 2018 defense contract awarded $50 million to a private robotics company to develop craft capable of creating 3D maps of, well, it's only $50 million, but whatever, of urban areas for a counter weapons of mass destruction program. The contract was given out by the Army's Armament Research, Development, and Engineering Center, which is located at the, Picatinny Arsenal in Rockaway, New Jersey, where mystery drones were first reported last month. Meanwhile, documents show that the Federal Aviation Administration, which is really what I care about, that's so the Federal Aviation Administration issued a restriction alert on November 21st, prohibiting flights over the Picatinny, whatever base for special security reasons through December 26th. Interesting. It is December 18th right now. The White House has claimed the drone sightings, which coincidentally began on November 18th, are not a foreign adversary, pose no threat, and are not part of a U.S. military operation. Retired CIA intelligence officer Rudy told DailyMail.com that this FAA notice shows U.S. drones or drone testing is happening in the area. It's a warning for others to stay out of the area during those dates. Quote, while the nature of the testing isn't specified, it's most likely the testing of payloads related to reconnaissance. Okay, so told the DoD can deny claims of third-party technologies if the drones were placed on a secure tech list for contract disclosures, which means the government is applying special restrictions to the information. The restrictions are added when technologies protect national security or keep advanced systems hidden from hostile nations, and the developer holds primary liability if the government is not operating the drones, Ridolfi explained. Let's see here. I want to see where it states basically why they can kind of get away with lying about it, but reading it through real quick, seeing if I can get anything else out of this. So they made a restriction alert last month as well. They made it temporary. Ban is due to national defense and security reasons, prohibiting other aerial vehicles flying within a 2-mile radius and below 2,000 feet. The initial sightings sparked fear of foreign adversaries spying on the arsenal, but the White House has assured the public that this is not a work of Russia, China, or Iran. I do think it is interesting. This is a quote. I do think it's interesting that the drones are using position lights, said Sloan. Quote, if I were a foreign adversary wanting to spy on things, I probably wouldn't have red and green lights on my drones. Yeah, no kidding. On December 10th, the arsenal recorded 17 confirmed and unconfirmed sightings of drones over its territory since November 13th. Under the terms of the contract, Robotic Research was tasked with conducting technical demonstrations of autonomous unmanned systems, sensing technologies, and design them with sensing technologies. So the program is focused on improving autonomy, 3D and 4D mapping, localization, target ID, tracking, collective 3D visualization, weapon systems integrated of unmanned autonomous systems, and subterranean communications. Holy shit, man. Fucking absolutely wild. Thank you for sending me that, by the way. I very much appreciate you sending me that so that I could, read that out a little bit. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Sorry, I had to read a lot there. All right, let's see where we left off. Right here. Read the Daily Mail article. That's what it was. Mike is running these drones with his bionic leg. Facts, by the way. Yeah. Project Blue Beam incoming. I saw this morning that our government claimed it was us doing it as a part of a military operation, which is ironic. It just said that it's not a military operation, right? Dean says, we all don't like Netanyahu, but he has nothing to do with the Jews being attacked simply for that. That's true. That part is true. Let's see here. Yeah, I do have. That's so funny. Gunpowder Nitro picked a nice Eagle Industries AK Mag. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about, bro. Hell yeah. Get strapped up. You just want AI to help you get extra 2 inches that you've been missing? All right. I'm sure it can eventually do shit like that. Maybe it can give me back my leg. Mike's leg is acting on its own. Mike can't be held responsible. That is facts, by the way. That's actual facts. Yeah. What are they covering up? Anything? Yeah. Who would have known? Who would have knew, right? Who knew? Yeah. No kidding. Put your leg into the air yeah. No. I'm not. Nope. I'm not going to do that with here's the antenna. Woo. Yeah, totally, bro. I see where you guys' heads at. When you give Mike, give Mike's legs some good old wacky tobacco, right? Facts. Where I live, they've been flying military drones over my house for years now, but I'm in North Carolina where there's a lot of military, so it's not surprising. Yeah, that's facts. Interesting. Mike's leg doesn't smoke, it only drinks. That is true. Yes. And also true, by the way, Roberto Urbe and Cord are definitely pole smokers. Facts. So something about drones are being used for ground sweeping for potential nukes. Wow, what the fuck? If it were an exercise being conducted by another agency than the DoD, then what the White House said would be completely true. Interesting. I seen that drones are being used to fly in illegal immigrants to paint houses. What? There's no way, bro. They're testing Amazon delivery drones. Totally. Yeah. Let's see. Mike, I also just sent you a video of Netanyahu that you need to play. All right. We'll play that and then we'll end it. You know what I mean? Let me go ahead and share this screen. Give me a second. I got it. Share. And no. Damn, it's loud. All right. Hold on. Bring down the volume.
ולתת להם מכות, לא רק מכות כל כך מכילות, שהמחיר יהיה כבד מצד.
We have to restart that. Sorry, it was fucked up. All right. Read right here.
שהמחיר יהיה כבד מצד, כרגע המחיר לא כבד מצד, על התקפה רבת היקף על הרשות הפלסטינית. זה מתחת שהכל מתמוטט.
לא פוחדים, צוחקים להם, יראו לנו את הישר וצחוק ופשוט הם לא פוחדים לצחוק.
זה מה שמביא אותם
ואז רגע, אבל אז השוק מהעולם יגיד מה, אתם כובשים? אתה לא מפחד מהעולם, ביבי.
במיוחד היום עם אמריקה, אני יודע מה זה אמריקה. אמריקה זה לא שאפשר להזיז אותו בקלות, להזיז לכיוון הנכון. לא יפריעו.
Wow. And move in the right direction. Yep. He said America is easily controllable. Wow. 80% of Americans support us, and it's absurd. I wasn't afraid to go against Clinton. I wasn't afraid to go against the UN.
הסכמי אוסלו שהכנסת חתמה עליהם, שאלו אותי לפני הבחירות, מתקיים בתנאי כפוף להדדיות, צמצום הנסיגות. אבל איך נצמצם את הנסיגות? אני אתן פירוש להסכם שיאפשר לי להפסיק את הדהירה הזאת לקווי 67. איך עשינו את זה? אף אחד לא אמר מה זה אתרים צבאיים מוגדרים. אתרים צבאיים מוגדרים, אני אמרתי אלה אזורי ביטחון. בקעת הירדן, מבחינתי זה אתר צבאי מוגדר. זהו כן. לך תגיד. אבל אז הייתה שאלה, מי יגדיר מה זה אתרים צבאיים מוגדרים? קיבלתי מכתב מקריסטופר, אליי ולרפ"ט, באותה לשעה, שאומר שישראל בלבד היא זו שתגדיר מה הם את מיקום האתרים הצבאיים האלה ואת גודלם. עכשיו, הם לא רצו לתת את המכתב הזה, אז לא נתתי את הסכם כזה. הפסקתי את ישיבת הממשלה, אמרתי, אני לא רוצה. רק כשהגיע המכתב, תוך כדי הישיבה, אליי ואל הרפ"ט, חתמתי על הסכם. תגיד לו שעדיף לתת 2% מאשר לתת 100%. וזו הברירה שעומדת כאן הפרק. אתה נתת 2%, ובזה עצרת את הנסיגה הזאת במקום 100%.
Shit. Let's see what the description is. A leaked video from 2001 shows Israeli PM Netanyahu talking about how Israel intentionally strikes Palestinians painfully, how he deceived the U.S. to break the also accords, and how Americans will always support Israel if it faces backlash. Shit. Yeah, that's brutal. That's brutal, to say the fucking least. Fucking crazy. Glare just sent in too, by the way. Make it sorry that I'm catching up right now, so I'm totally behind the 8 ball. Make it big, have read the captions. Yeah, that was I had it scrolled in as far as it could, and it wouldn't get any bigger on the Facebook bullshit. It doesn't adjust like that. It's really weird. Same thing with Instagram, by the way. Instagram doesn't do it well, at least on my computer. I don't know. Like every time I zoom in, it like gets big, but then small. And then, it's really fucking weird. And then you lose the frame. It actually doesn't like fucking allow you to zoom in correctly. I think I need a program to actually like magnify myself into situations like that. That'd be cool if anybody knows about a program that does that. I'm trying to catch up with all of you guys right now. Shit. And my camera's all fucked up now. Thanks, guys. My fucking camera's behind 0.1 second or whatever. All that could be completely true. We still shouldn't trust video translation on social media, which is true. I don't speak their language, right? So I have no idea if that translation, they could have just made that shit up too. And I was thinking that too, but hey, I'm sure that conversation was translated correctly. And I wouldn't be surprised by it, but yeah, it's crazy. Lots of news articles along the same points. Just Google it for y'all's self crazy. Yeah, that shit is crazy. It's a good point, Papa. I'll see if I can find it from another source. Facts. That's always good to do. You don't speak clogged throat. What? She? Come on, man. No. Stop the cap. Stop the cap, cuh.
Stop the cap.
All right. Much love, honor, respect to everybody. Hopefully you guys all have a wonderful morning. Thank you guys for helping out the show monetarily, as well as being here, just supporting and hanging out with us in the chat, or just lurking and watching the whole thing go down. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you guys tonight at 7 p.m. CST for more of the drone craziness. And I'll be bringing some of this, the shit that we found out about the drones from Glare. We'll be going into that a little bit this evening. So anyways, we got my buddy Nick on the road. He's probably almost here. So we're about to hang out and enjoy the afternoon. Much love, honor, respect, everybody. Be safe. God bless.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken, he rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his step, refusing to submit.